Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Mike here once again. How are we all? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good day. And despite all this rain that we're having, I hope that you're feeling good, feeling cheerful. Hope that you're smiling your way through the day. I'm trying my best. The rain has been horrific here in Wales at the minute. We've got snow in some places and then really beautiful sunshine in others. I don't know what's happening. On the other hand, spring has sprung because my parents' cherry blossom tree is blossoming, blooming. It's beautiful. There's all these little white flowers and it's very, very pretty. I'll try and get some footage. I might have some. Let's see what I can do. So before we go ahead and sort of jump into today's bookish video, I'd like to ask you all to go over to my channel and hit subscribe. You will get videos from me every Tuesday and Friday. Bookish videos and life videos. You might as well hit the notifications button while you're there so you get to know when those videos go up. Yeah, and hit like on this video if you enjoy it. So let's get on with this Everything Bookish video from March 2019. So guys, before we actually get into the books, the book haul, the wrap up and the currently reading from March, I just kind of want to start by saying, and this sounds really negative, but I have to say it, I'm not doing very much reading at the moment. I seem to be distracted with other things, other like positive things, and I'm quite busy in general at the moment, and for some reason, reading has fallen to the wayside. I think this is what they call a reading funk. I am sort of, well, as I go through what I'm about to show you, it's not very much, but you'll kind of understand what I mean. So I'll start with where I ended up in February. I was currently reading this bad boy, Nemesis by Jo Nesbo. And as you can see from my bookmark here, I am actually still currently reading it. I got to page 120 and I'm actually really enjoying the story, and it just sort of kicked up a notch. I'll link the other video above about what this book is about. But essentially, Harry is investigating a bunch of robberies / murders when he wakes up from a night of like drunkenness and possibly some naughty fun times, and he gets called to go and investigate. There's another body being found, and he goes to discover that it's the person he was with the night before, and he has no memory of the night before, but I think he's got like blood and stuff on him. So the investigation, the proper big investigation, is about to take place, and which sounds a bit of an odd thing, but I put the book down. I did. I put the book down. Not because the story wasn't interesting to me, because it really was, and at that point in time I was really in the mood for a thriller. However, I went and joined my local library. I know, it's something I've been dying to do for a really, really long time because A, it's a really good source of books for free in my county, which seems absolutely ridiculous not to take advantage of. So I get to save money by not having to buy all the books I want to read, and I get to go and enjoy the whole library experience, which I haven't had for a very, very long time. So I went, I joined, and I took out some books. One of the books I took out was this. It's Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Now, I'll read the back for you before we actually get into it. So the Earth is dying. Darrow is a red, a miner in the interior of Mars. His mission is to extract enough precious elements to one day tame the surface of the planet and allow humans to live on it. The Reds are humanity's last hope, or so it appears. Until the day Darrow discovers it's all a lie, that Mars has been habitable and inhabited for generations by a class of people calling themselves the Golds, a class of people who look down at Darrow and his fellows as slave labour to be exploited and worked to death without a second thought. Until the day Darrow, with the help of a mysterious group of rebels, disguises himself as a Gold and infiltrates their command school, intent on taking down his oppressors from the inside. But the command school is a battlefield, and Darrow isn't the only student with an agenda. So this has been on my radar for a little while, because people who kind of like the Hunger Games, Maze Runner fans, it's a dystopian future with a kind of rising up of the oppressed to take their freedom, and who doesn't love a story like that? So I went and joined the library and took this out because I saw it there. I was there joining and I thought, well, I'm here, I might as well have a little look and see what's on the shelves. Had a little browse, was there for a little while, saw this and thought, actually, do you know what, a little bit of dystopia right now would be really, really nice. I like sometimes jumping from book to book and not just reading one book all in one go. So I picked this up, put Harry down, and went with Darrow for a bit. And as you can see from my bookmark here, I am currently reading it, and I'm on page 80, and essentially what I just read to you on the back is what has happened. I do stand by this whole Hunger Games analogy because it's written in the first person. It has an oppressed hero who goes through something not very nice and ends up waking up and realizing that his life has been a lie, and he wants to fight back and take back what should be his and his family, and he's really angry that for generations his people have been dying for no reason. So it is, you know, it sounds really good, and I am enjoying it. I'm not loving it, okay? I can't put my finger on yet why. There was one, so Darrow is married. It's interesting, the society is quite interesting. They're young, because they die young, they sort of live younger. So he's married to a girl called Io, and she's beautiful, and she wants to, she feels oppressed, and she wants to fight her oppression already. So she's quite a strong character. And Darrow is actually more sort of laid back, not laid back, but he's good at what he does, and he thinks that he's thriving in what he does, which is mining the gases they need to terraform the planet's surface. But Io keeps trying to push him into being something more, and to do that she does something kind of that she can't take back, and he is sort of, he can't, it's hard for him to move past what she does. And I think that for me, the relationship between Io and Darrow, because it's what we see of it is quite brief before the actual story kind of kicks in, it didn't, I didn't connect with it as much as I would have liked to. I'm quite intrigued by Darrow, but I feel like he's been pushed into becoming a hero, or kind of pushed into fighting what he's been going through in his life. Obviously, Katniss volunteers in the Hunger Games to stand up, and she sort of does become a reluctant hero, and he is a reluctant hero, but so far, Hunger Games did it better, in my opinion. So far, but I'm only 80 pages in, and I am currently reading it. But yes, but unfortunately, the last time I read it was a good solid week ago, and let's talk about that now then. So I am in a bit of a reading funk. I put both of these books down now for quite a significant period of time. They're going in my bag. Everywhere I go, they're in my bag, and I take them with me with the intent to read, like on my breaks in work or wherever I find myself when I need some entertaining. I have the books with me, but I haven't been reading them, and not because there's anything wrong with the books. It's because I've been distracted with a little project that I've been doing for YouTube, and if you follow this channel, you probably would have seen some videos about it already, but I am starting a podcast, and it is something which has sort of consumed my mind of late. The last couple of weeks, I got together with my friend Kyle, and we recorded a podcast. It took a couple of hours, and it was actually a very entertaining experience. I really enjoyed myself. But what all those videos kind of have become is a bit of a project, because there's a lot of editing involved. I've got several videos sort of coming out of it. You will have already seen on this channel, or if you haven't, I will link it above and below, a teaser trailer for the podcast, an actual trailer for the podcast, and you're about to get 3 more videos from that podcast. So as you can imagine, I've been sort of like going round in circles a little bit with that conversation with Kyle, and not in a bad way at all. It's been actually really, really fun, and something more sort of creative which is what I've been trying to get to with YouTube at the moment. Not that it's not satisfying, making these chatty videos for you guys and sharing what I'm doing with my life and reading and cooking and watching. That's all fab, and that stuff's going to carry on. I'm not going to stop that. But I just have been absorbed by my first podcast and kind of trying to time when to release things and to let people know that it's happening. Shall I give you a little sort of spoilery, exclusive-y type thing? So I am going to be doing a proper podcast, and I'm going to start recording that very shortly with a kind of different guests each week, and I'm hopefully going to do 5 or 6 episodes of that with different groups of people, and that is an entity of its own. And the podcast that I've done with Kyle kind of is over on the side of this other podcast, and it is a mini series, and I want to talk to people who are creative or who are creators. And the plan is to call it something like Creative Whales or something like that. And it's just basically me sitting down with people who are writers, singers, musicians, artists, bloggers, YouTubers, anybody who actually does creates something, and just to talk about that process and what they do, and that's just interesting. I find it so fascinating. So that's what I'm doing. I've kind of got this Creative Whales or Whales Creators. I'm not sure what the name's going to be yet, but that's going to be happening over here. It's going to be a mini series, and they may be released sort of further apart from each other rather than like once a week. And I'm going to be doing a separate podcast, more chatty kind of everyday life podcast, which is going to happen. I'll probably do them and release them in once a week for that 5 weeks. That's the plan, okay? So I've been quite absorbed, podcast mind, that's what's been happening, not reading mind, which is why I haven't been reading very much. I haven't got very much to share with you. I did buy one book this month though, one little book from W.H. Smith. This is called Vox by Christina Dalcher, and you've probably seen this book going around the circuit on YouTube. It says in the back, and this does sound really, really good: "We will not be silenced." Jean McClellan, oh that's a hell of a name, spends her time in almost complete silence, limited to just 100 words a day. Any more and 1,000 volts of electricity will course through her veins. Now the new government is in power, everything has changed, but only if you're a woman. Almost overnight, bank accounts are frozen, passports are taken away, and 70 million women lose their jobs. Even more terrifyingly, young girls are no longer taught to read or write. For herself, her daughter, and for every woman silenced, Jean will reclaim her voice. This is only the beginning. And then it says underneath then, 100-word limit reached. This sounds really, really good. But you know how we like to read the first line from Vox. "If anyone told me I could bring down the president and the pure movement and that incompetent little shit Morgan LeBron in a week's time, I wouldn't believe them, but I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't say a thing." Oh, it just sounds really, really good. I'm really looking forward to getting to this. That is the only book that I bought this month. I borrowed a book from the library, which I'm currently reading, and I've had to renew today because I've gone past my 3-week limit. So that's going to be an interesting concept for me. But it's quite nice. I quite like the idea of having a time limit to get these books read by, because otherwise they could just go on and on and on. And then I will get back to Jo Nesbo at some point too and finish Nemesis. That's what it's called, isn't it? Yes, Nemesis. But yeah, that's where I am. Little bit of a reading funk, guys, but only because of the other projects I've got going on, not because of the books or the fact that I'm going to stop reading or anything. That ain't going to happen. Always going to have a book with me. So yeah, not a lot to say else otherwise. So yeah, what have you guys been reading this month, and what have you bought this month? What books are out there exciting you? I'm very excited already for the next installment of the Book of Dust, and I'm considering rereading that, and that's something, since I've started doing Booktube, I haven't done very much rereading. So we'll see, maybe I'll get to that this month, next month. Let's get this podcast stuff out of the way and get back to reading, shall we? Shall we? Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye!